Imagine a discovery so dangerous. It was buried beneath the sand for nearly 2,000 years. A text whispered to hold the words of Jesus, but not the ones the church wanted you to hear. Archaeologists called it the gospel of the desert. The Vatican called it blasphemy. And one man paid with his life to bring it to light. This is a true story of the forbidden gospel they never wanted you to know. The year was 1947. In the burning heat of the Judean desert, a young Bedouin shepherd threw a stone into a cave and heard the sound of shattering pottery. What he found inside would later shake the foundations of Christianity. Ancient scrolls, sealed in jars, written in a forgotten language. But among the fragments, one stood apart, smooth of parchment, sealed with resin, and marked with an unfamiliar sigil, a cross intertwined with the sun. The shepherd didn't know it yet, but that mark had not been used since the 1st century by a secret sect known as the Sons of the Dawn. When word reached scholars in Jerusalem, a small excavation team arrived. Among them was Dr. Elias Rahman, a quiet historian obsessed with early Christian texts. He was the first to touch the parchment, and the first to realize its danger. The inscription at the top read, "The words of Yeshua, written by the hand of his brother." For weeks, Dr. Rahman worked in secret. He didn't tell the authorities what he found. He didn't even tell his team. Late at night, under flickering lamps, he translated the faded Aramaic text. What it said defied everything. It spoke not of miracles or resurrection, but of a man teaching freedom from institutions, of a message twisted by power. It described Yeshua not as divine, but as a rebel philosopher, one hunted by both Rome and the temple priests for revealing a truth that belonged to all humanity. The last page ended with a chilling prophecy. When this word rises again from the dust, the old tower shall fall, and truth shall walk again among men. Rahman froze. He realized this wasn't just scripture. It was a declaration of war against dogma. Days later, men in black suits arrived at the dig site. They said they were from the Department of Antiquities, but their accents were not local. Within hours, the cave was sealed off. Rahman's tent was burned, and the scroll was gone. 3 weeks later, Dr. Rahman's body was found at the edge of the Dead Sea, his car submerged, his notes missing. Officially, it was ruled an accident. Unofficially, it was a warning. But before he died, Rahman had mailed one copy of his translation to a friend in Cairo, a Coptic monk named Brother Marcus. For 40 years, Marcus kept the translation hidden inside the walls of his monastery. He feared what would happen if the world ever saw it. He watched as empires rose and fell, as wars were fought in the name of religion. He wondered, was Rahman right to try and share it? Then, in 1987, a sandstorm tore through the Sinai Peninsula, collapsing part of the monastery wall. Behind it, a workman found a sealed clay jar. Inside, the faded manuscript. A young reporter covering the restoration heard rumors of a lost gospel. Her name was Amira Khalil, and she was fearless. Amira tracked down Marcus, who by then was over 90 years old. He handed her the envelope with trembling hands and said only one thing. Truth is not what they fear, it is what they cannot control. Then he passed away that same night. Amira took the manuscript to London and tried to publish it. Every major journal refused. Her emails were ignored. Her hotel room was searched, and she began to notice the same dark sedan following her through the streets. Finally, she turned to an underground historian community on the early internet, scholars who published anonymously. Within days, the Gospel of the Desert appeared online. Within hours, it was gone. The site was taken down, the server confiscated. But by then, hundreds of people had downloaded it. And one of them, an American linguist named Daniel Cross, decoded a final hidden message buried in the text. It wasn't written in Aramaic. It was written in ciphered Greek. The message read, "He walked not on water, but through the minds of men. Those who seek me will not find me in temples, but in the mirror of their own soul." In 1999, a Vatican spokesperson publicly denied the existence of any desert gospel. But leaked memos later revealed something strange. A classified Vatican archive, Vault 17A, was logged as access on the same day Amira vanished in Cairo. No one has seen her since. Some claim she's alive, living under a new identity. Others say she was silenced. But fragments of the gospel keep resurfacing, quoted in academic papers, carved into cave walls, even appearing in anonymous art installations across Europe. And yet, no one has ever produced a full text again. In 2022, satellite imagery from a private Israeli research group revealed an underground structure beneath the same region Raman once explored. It wasn't a tomb, it was a library, carved into stone, sealed by centuries of sand. And at the heart of it, a chamber containing dozens of scrolls. On one, the same sun-cross symbol. The site is now under military control. Access is restricted. But leaked photos confirm the parchment bears Raman's handwriting. It means the original may still exist. It means the story is not over. Whether you believe or not, one thing remains undeniable. Every time a truth like this surfaces, it vanishes just as quickly. Every time history whispers from the dust, someone tries to silence it. But maybe that's the point. Maybe the truth isn't buried beneath the desert. Maybe it's buried within us. So the next time you hear someone say there's nothing left to find, remember the shepherd, the scholar, and the gospel that refused to die, because some stories are too dangerous to stay hidden forever. When Raman's handwriting was confirmed, whispers began spreading through the academic underground. Emails, coded forums, encrypted chat rooms, all hinting that the scrolls were being examined in a secret lab outside Tel Aviv. Officially, the government denied it. Unofficially, everyone knew something monumental had been found. Then came the silence. No leaks, no papers, no mentions in archaeology journals. It was as if the desert itself had swallowed the truth again. But a month later, a whistleblower known only as Archivist 9 uploaded a blurred photograph to an encrypted forum. The image showed the parchment illuminated under ultraviolet light, and on its edge, faintly visible, were 3 lines of text unseen before. Beware the keepers of the crown and the sun, for they worship not God, but the silence that protects them. The community erupted. Who were the keepers of the crown and the sun? Was it an ancient order, a modern institution? Some believe it referred to the Order of the Solar Cross, a secretive faction rumored to have infiltrated both religious and political power centuries ago. A group that believed knowledge was meant to be controlled, not shared. And if that was true, then the gospel of the desert was not just a threat to faith. It was a threat to power itself. 3 days after the leak, Archivist 9 posted one final message. It read, "I was part of the restoration team. What I saw will change everything you were taught. The gospel is incomplete because the missing pages are not lost, they are hidden." He claimed the last fragments were smuggled out of Israel in 1950 by a man working for the British Museum, a man who disappeared on his way to Alexandria. Attached to the post was a scanned shipping manifest dated March 3, 1950, labeled simply, Parcel 17A, Cairo Route, Private Custody. Within hours, the account of Archivist 9 vanished. All posts deleted, his username banned from every network. And yet, his word spread like wildfire. Independent historians began to search for any trace of Parcel 17A. They found nothing. No customs record. No museum logs. No archives. Until one night, a retired postal clerk from Alexandria came forward. He remembered something, a package that was never delivered. It was seized by foreign officials at the harbor, then loaded onto a ship bound for Vatican City. Early 2024. Deep beneath the Sinai sands, a new excavation began, this time led by a joint team of Egyptian and French archaeologists. Officially, it was a geothermal survey. But the leaked project name was far more cryptic, Operation Dawnfire. Satellite footage revealed a labyrinth of chambers stretching beneath the desert like veins of time, and at the heart, a sealed vault containing a stone tablet engraved with a strange script. When translated, it read, "Here lies the covenant of men and light. Those who read it must decide, reveal or protect." The chamber's walls were lined with carvings, not of saints, not of angels, but of humans, standing beneath a rising sun, reaching upward as of awakening. In the carvings, no one kneeled, no one prayed. Every figure stood tall. It was a message older than religion itself, a vision of humanity not as servants of the divine, but as its reflection. In June 2025, an anonymous letter reached several major universities. It came from someone claiming to work inside the Vatican archives. The handwriting was precise, ancient, and at the bottom, the signature read, Curator of 17A. The letter admitted that the gospel of the desert was indeed real, that it was preserved, not destroyed, and that for decades a silent agreement had existed between religious and political leaders to suppress its content, not because it was false, but because it was too true. If the world learned that divinity lies not above, but within, the curator wrote, then all structures built on fear would crumble overnight. He ended with one line that froze scholars around the world. The time of silence is ending. When the desert sings again, listen. Weeks later, footage surfaced from a tourist drone flying over the Dead Sea. The sand had shifted after a rare rainstorm, uncovering what appeared to be a massive symbol, a sun cross, carved into the earth itself. Experts called it coincidence. Believers called it a sign. And somewhere, in an undisclosed archive room, a light flickered above a glass case. Inside lay a scroll sealed in resin, the faint imprint of a sun burning through its surface. The air was silent, but if you listened closely, you could almost hear the whisper of parchment, like the desert, exhaling its secrets once more.